everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and it's all about Alexander Isak. He wants that cheddar, baby. That's right. If you believe what's being said, I think it's Alex Crook on TalkSport, so take that with a huge pinch of salt. Apparently, Alexander Isak is looking for 300 grand a week in his new contract negotiations. Now, that blows Newcastle United's wage cap right out of the water. I think the current wage cap is around about 120 or 150 per week. I'm sure you beat that up with appearances and goals and promotions and cups and all of the stuff that goes with it. But 300 grand a week just to get out of bed in the morning, Alexander Isak is looking for his payday. Now, I'm going to tell you why I haven't got a problem with this. I haven't got a problem with this because Alexander Isak is one of the best centre-forwards in world football, and he deserves to be paid at that amount of money. He really, really does. I think Erling Haaland's on something daft like 500 grand a week or something now at City. So Isak isn't miles off Haaland, and he's looking at it from a financial point of view. His agent's looking at it from a financial point of view, and he's thinking, why am I here at Newcastle United? Yes, I'm in the Champions League, great. Yes, I've just won a cup, great. Yes, I enjoy my manager, my teammates, my fans, but you know, I'm way under in terms of my wages next to Erling Haaland, who I'm scoring more goals than. What the fuck's going on there? So I can't disagree with Alexander Isak in that regard. Now, this is the kind of tipping point where I think Newcastle have always been heading to with a player of Isak's quality. The better he gets, the more you're going to have to pay him to keep him. And this is really the tipping point, I think, for Newcastle United and Isak. And that's probably why it's reached a stalemate and why Eddie Howe's had to interfere and had to kind of, do it in an Eddie kind of way, which is, use his words and his articulation to try and resolve the situation. Now, for me, Newcastle United, where are you at right now? You got to pay the bloke. You got to pay him. You got to pay him. You got to break your wage cap. You got to pay him. Now, I know PSR, you're all screaming, PSR, PSR in the comments. I love the world without PSR. My God, you can just talk about football without people getting out the spreadsheets and the calculations. So that was a lovely time. I really enjoyed that time. Just talking about players and talking about signings. But anyway, going back to the situation. Yes, it's going to put Newcastle United in a delicate situation for PSR. So what does it mean? It means we might have to cut some cloth to afford Alexander Isak. Now, you're looking at the squad, and I love this player. I'm going to caveat this by saying I love this player. This player has been amazing for Newcastle. He's nearly left a couple of times over the last year or so. 34 years of age. His better days are behind him. Kieran Trippier. I love Kieran Trippier a bit, but I'm asking you this right now, Newcastle United fans. If you had to send Kieran Trippier away with well wishes and thank him for everything that he'd done, so you can afford to give Alexander Isak 300 grand a week and keep him at this football club, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive Kieran to the airport and say, thanks, Kieran. Enjoy yourself, pal. Great to see you. Thanks very much. You'll never be short of a pint in Newcastle, but we've got to keep this lad because he's the best player in the entire team. And without him, we are fucked. So that's where I stand in this situation. I say pay Alexander Isak the money, pay him the 300 grand a week. That's the going rate for a player of that quality. And if you don't pay him, you risk losing him. And that's where Newcastle United are right now. Nobody's upstairs trying to sort this shit out. It's a complete mess, clusterfuck up there. So no one knows what's going on, who's negotiating what. Poor Eddie Howe's having to do it all himself. And all these people who said, he ran Mitchell out of town. I don't think he did because he's generally sounding shocked and surprised that Mitchell walks. I don't think Eddie Howe did run Mitchell out of the club. I think Mitchell was the wrong choice for the club. Arrogance, ignorance. Maybe Mitchell was expecting to come in here and see an infrastructure that was much better suited to his requirement because he worked for clubs who already had that established and we didn't. Maybe it was that, but certainly everything you hear about Mitchell doesn't particularly sound very good in my opinion. And as I said, I can smell a wanker salesman underwater. It's a gift. It is a gift. But going back to this situation, you've got the best striker arguably in the world, certainly one of the best three strikers in the world. Is he worth 300 grand a week? Nobody's really worth 300 grand a week. Maybe a doctor or a surgeon that saves lives, but they don't get that. But a footballer, is he worth 300 grand a week? In the world of football, you bet your arse he is. Pay the money, Newcastle, or risk losing one of the best strikers on the planet. That's my opinion. You won't be able to replace him. Who are you going to replace him with? Victor Gyökeres? He's going to Arsenal. He would want a couple hundred grand a week probably. Victor Osimhen, he'd want a couple hundred grand a week. Even Sesko probably wants 150 grand a week anyway, so they're not going to be much better off. So why not pay Alexander Isak the money that he's looking for? Keep him at the football club. Keep the best striker in the world, arguably, at the football club. Build on it, grow the team, and see how we get on. But let us know in the comments below what you think about this. Is Isak being greedy? Do you think that's it? If you've got your financial cap on, you'll say, no, we're going to breach PSR, we can't do it. Well, Mark Goldbridge there for a minute. But that seems to be what a lot of people are saying. for me, I think Newcastle are on a collision course with breaching. They're going to have to. If you've got to breach PSR to keep Alexander Isak at this football club, breach away, mate. You know, give us a 6, 8, 10 point deduction and back us to get that back with Alexander Isak playing for Newcastle. Without him, I wouldn't. So yeah, it's a very tricky situation. But for me, Newcastle, I think, need to pay this money, or at least meet him in the middle somewhere, 250 grand or 220 grand a week with bonuses on top and maybe a release clause, and he might sign that contract. But we need Isak to stay. We need to dig our hands in the pocket and pay it, whatever it takes. It means getting rid of a stalwart in Kieran Trippier at 34 years of age, is on 150 grand a week. If it means clearing him off the wage bill to give that money to Alexander Isak to make up the difference, then I say that's an easy one to do. It really, really is. I know the Trippier fans will go mad at me in the comments, but you've got to be practical here, guys. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Keep it evermore. We will back some new content soon. Thanks for all the views and the new subscribers as well. Really appreciate that. It seems to be whenever there's some hardships at Newcastle, we do get a lot of interactions, but we love it either way. So thank you very much for the interactions and the subscriptions. Keep smashing that button. Recommend this to family and friends. It's all free content. I'm hoping we're back with a signing video soon, because that is getting very concerning as the weeks tick away for the transfer window for Newcastle to secure new players, get them bedded in, get them ready for Aston Villa. We're going to fly away to Singapore, I think, on Thursday. We've got to play Arsenal and Spurs. That could get messy if we haven't got some new players, and it really could. Hopefully Isak will be there, will be scoring goals, and all of this will be put to bed. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a belter. See you later.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.